In the heart of a small, sun-baked village in West Africa, there was a church unlike any other. Mountain of Divine Awakening Ministries sat at the edge of the forest, its corrugated iron roof glinting in the heat. It wasn't the size of the church or the number of worshippers that made it famous, it was the miracles. And at the center of it all stood Pastor Chinedu. With a voice that rumbled like thunder and eyes that flickered like candlelight, Pastor Chinedu drew crowds from across the region. Women who had wept for years over empty wombs found themselves cradling babies months after his prayers. Men who had begged on dusty roads now wore suits and held jobs in cities they couldn't even pronounce before. The desperate came in droves and left believing they had been blessed. But the blessings came with shadows. Mama Neka, a woman barren for 12 years, gave birth to a healthy boy after Pastor Chinedu poured oil on her belly and whispered strange words no one recognized. At first, she danced in gratitude, but before the boy turned 3, he began screaming in unknown tongues, clawing at mirrors, afraid of his own reflection. By 5, he was lighting matches and laughing at the flames. At 7, he disappeared into the forest. They found his clothes by a tree, folded neatly. They never found the boy. Kofi, a former mechanic who'd been jobless for nearly a decade, received a prayer from the pastor. Within 2 weeks, a foreign company offered him a position with pay beyond imagination. He moved to the city and sent money home. Then the calls stopped. His cousin visited and found his apartment locked from the inside, untouched for days. The only thing inside was a Bible soaked in oil and a mirror cracked down the middle. No one ever saw Kofi again. Whispers started, but no one dared say it aloud, until the day Deacon Ayo stumbled into the village square, shaking and pale. "I saw it," he croaked, collapsing. "In the forest. The night before every miracle, he goes there. He kneels not to God, but to something else. Something with red eyes." He died the next morning, his tongue blackened and his skin cold despite the heat. Behind the miracles was a secret no one wanted to believe. Pastor Chinedu was no longer praying to the God of heaven. Years ago, he had wandered into the forest seeking power after fasting for 40 days without answers. There, deep in the belly of the trees, he encountered Ezenwanyindu, the spirit of the forgotten shrine, a goddess buried by time and fear. She promised him power, crowds, and the ability to give life and restore honor. But power, she warned, would require offerings. He agreed. Every child born through his touch belonged to her. Every job granted through his prayers was marked by her spirit. And every follower who praised him strengthened the bond. The miracles were real, but so were the curses. The church grew. So did the strange deaths, sudden madness, and inexplicable disappearances. But the people, desperate for hope, kept coming. They told themselves that if suffering followed, it was simply a test. They ignored the dreams that came after the blessings. The same dream over and over again, a tree bleeding from its bark, a pastor with eyes that turned black, and a voice whispering, "What was given must return." Eventually, a young girl named Ada, whose sister had vanished after receiving a blessing, confronted Pastor Chinedu during a Sunday service. She screamed that his miracles were poisoned. The lights in the church flickered. The congregation watched in horror as Pastor Chinedu's smile split wider than humanly possible. His voice deepened, echoing like 10 drums at once. "She knows," the voice said, not his own. "She sees." Ada ran, into the forest, into the mouth of the thing that started it all. They never found her either. Today, Mountain of Divine Awakening Ministries still stands. Pastor Chinedu still preaches. The miracles haven't stopped, but neither have the shadows. And somewhere in the forest, the spirit waits, fed and strong. Because when blessings come from darkness, the light always asks for payment.